Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am excited to talk to you about all things Tuberose. Tuberose! I'm so excited. So before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button, become part of the Weird and Wonderful family. I would love to have you join the community. And if you are already a part of the community, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys like so much. So yeah, I love you guys lots. It's so fun to interact with you guys, so thank you. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on to the fragrances. So when I think of Tuberose, what I heard a lot of people say, you know, when I was just getting into fragrance was, you know, that Tuberose, not that old lady Tuberose. I don't know what old lady Tuberose smells like, but all I know is that Tuberose has fast become one of my favorite notes. And I never actually thought I would be super into florals, but more and more I've come to discover that Tuberose is something that I really enjoy. What I find is that it either adds kind of an uplifting sweet aspect to a fragrance. There's like bubblegummy tuberoses, or I find that Tuberose really pairs nicely with the more tropical type florals, giving it kind of almost a solar feel to it. So whether it be sweet or whether it be adding to kind of a tropical, warm, sunny type fragrance, I find that it's very uplifting and just makes me happy. So I have to say that all of these fragrances in front of me, and I have 7 to share with you, are some of my absolute favorites. I just absolutely, like I seriously love these ones. They always make me happy. And I don't know about you guys, but I like being happy. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, the first fragrance I have to share with you is Velvet Vanilla by Mancera. Now, this one caught me off guard because I'd watched a bunch of YouTube videos on it and people were saying, oh, it's, you know, a real bubblegummy Tuberose, and I really didn't know what that meant. Like, I wasn't quite sure, you know, what bubblegummy Tuberose smelled like, but I was expecting somehow like a bubblegum fragrance. When I first smelled this, I didn't smell bubblegum. I didn't know what I smelled really. And so it caught me off guard, but I really enjoy this fragrance. Now, in the opening of Velvet Vanilla, you get pear, angelica, blackcurrant, mandarin orange, pink pepper, and clove. So the opening has a ton of notes. I notice a bit of juiciness from the pear. There's also a hint of green, which I'm assuming is the angelica, but I don't really notice any pink pepper. I don't notice orange or currant. Don't notice that clove. So I notice a little bit of juiciness from the pear, and I notice a tinge, like just a hint of green in the opening. In the middle notes, you have tuberose, neroli, jasmine, and rose. So kind of 4 floral notes, which seems like a lot. And then in the base, you have vanilla and musk. What I get out of this is tuberose and pear, and I do notice that vanilla. So when I first smell this, it's really tuberose heavy. So you mainly get that bubblegummy tuberose, like people say. So there's a hint of this bubblegum aspect. And then as it dries down on my skin, what it reminds me of would be a vanilla buttercream icing. That's the best description I can give to it. It almost smells like, you know, when the icing is almost powdery, like it's a major buttercream, but it's got so much icing sugar in that it feels a little bit gritty almost. This doesn't smell gritty, it smells smooth, but that icing sugar aspect is what I get out of this one. So this one is super warm and sweet, but it's definitely a cheery fragrance. And this one, I haven't worn it a whole lot in the spring and summer, or the spring so far, because it's so strong. But I see myself reaching for this when I want something sunny, but like a power hitter in the winter and fall. And also in the evenings, if you want something sweet and alluring, I think that this one is great. I think that even though this one is super duper sugary sweet, I find that this one's actually quite classy because it smells somehow a little bit rich. There's a little bit of luxuriousness in it. I don't know if it's just how potent it is, but it smells thick. So whereas something like Pink Sugar by Aquilina, to me that comes across as thin. It comes across like a sugar water, but super, super like toothachingly sweet is what I find with something like Pink Sugar. And I actually find that Pink Sugar gives me a headache. So I don't know what the other notes are in it, but to me it smells really quite synthetic. It smells thin somehow, but really sweet. This one smells sweet, but it smells thick. It smells rich. It smells like a cream icing or a thick syrup. That's what I get from this one. And so to me, this one smells a lot richer. I can see that this one would be overwhelming for some people. This one lasts on my skin like 10, 12 hours. And it's pretty linear, so it stays quite bubblegum tuberose vanilla the whole entire time. Although, like I said in that opening, you get a little hint of green. So I just think this one's a really fun fragrance, but I can see that it wouldn't be for everyone. Now, the next Tuberose fragrance that I have is just, to me, phenomenal. And that is Be Laird's Dolled Up. Now this fragrance is supposed to be an inspired fragrance for YSL's Supreme Bouquet, which I haven't ever smelled. But this one is just stunning. Again, this one smells rich. Actually, come to think of it, Tuberose fragrances, at least the ones that I have, all of them except for one smell exceptionally sophisticated. Well, this one I wouldn't say smells super sophisticated, although it does smell luxurious, but several of these are just smelling so luxurious and rich, and Dolled Up is no exception. So this one, it has tuberose, fruit, amber, patchouli, jasmine, pear, ylang ylang, musk, and pink pepper. So this one is definitely, again, a pear tuberose combination, and actually quite a few of them have pear in it. And pear happens to be one of my notes too, or my favorite notes too. So the combination of the pear and the tuberose is just stunning. This one, super pear, super tuberose. It smells creamy. Yeah, there's a creaminess to this. This one's less sweet than Velvet Vanilla. I love the fruity aspect of this one. So it's got fruits, but it almost smells a little bit like dried fruits with that pear. Smells quite juicy. The tuberose in this one, again, smells quite bubblegummy. So there is that sweet component. I'm not noticing a whole lot of pink pepper or patchouli, like anything super spicy. But this one just smells really invigorating, and this is super long lasting as well. So if you're a fan of tuberose and pear, this one is gorgeous. This one is a lot brighter, so it would be more of a day fragrance, although this lasts so long on the skin. Like this one's about a 12-hour girl. That I don't see this one backing off. But this one creates such a great scent bubble. The sillage is fantastic. The wear on this is fantastic. I think it smells sophisticated and rich, but also like that juicy, happy pear fruit note just makes this one just, to me, stunning. Yeah, I love it. Now the next one is a little bit of a different take. It's got some spice to it, and that is Twilly dermes. This one has ginger, orange, and bergamot in the opening. So you definitely get some spice and a little bit of citrus. I don't really notice the bergamot, but I notice definitely that orange and that ginger. So it's got a little spicy, warm citrus kick that's quite delicious. In the mids, you get tuberose, orange blossom, and jasmine. Now this one, I definitely notice the tuberose. I notice the orange blossom. I'm not noticing the jasmine as much. And then in the base, you have sandalwood and vanilla. This one in the opening is definitely spicier with that ginger. It smells a little bit peppery, but it's paired nicely with that sweet orange aspect. But then as it dries down, this one definitely evolves. So these two are quite linear. This one I notice an evolving. So I notice that ginger to begin with, but then the ginger kind of backs off and becomes a secondary player to that tuberose and the orange blossom. And so I just think it's beautiful. It ends up smelling like a very sophisticated warm floral. Although this one is still like quite invigorating, this definitely doesn't have the bubblegum aspect to it, but it smells just quite sophisticated. I would say that this one smells potentially a little bit mature. So the first time I smelled this one, I thought, gives me like auntie vibes somehow. But the more I've worn it, the more I just really enjoy the way it warms on the skin, the way it evolves. It's still like it's really interesting because of that evolving that happens. And then as this dries down, of course, the tuberose mixes with that vanilla, and you just get a really beautiful floral vanilla on your skin. So this one I think is really pretty. It's different than a lot of different fragrances because of that ginger component, and I think it's worth giving it a sniff. But don't just sniff it, put it on your skin if possible, because when I smelt it on the card, it smells way different on the card than it does on your skin. The way it develops on the skin is what makes this thing really quite special. So definitely give this a try. The next fragrance I have for you, again, one of my favorites, and it is So Scandal. Now this one is a Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance, and this one has raspberry, tuberose, and milk. And I just so enjoy this fragrance. Now for me, the star player of this would be the raspberry. I love that it's just a bright, juicy, kind of synthetic candy smelling raspberry that couples beautifully with the tuberose. So I really enjoy this one. Now this one has a slight lactonic feel, but it would be like if you had berries that you had kind of crushed up and put a lot of sugar into them, and then you let them sit so they kind of get like quite liquidy, and then you add just a dash of whipped cream. That would be kind of what you get. So not really milky, but just a hint of cream in the mix of that tuberose and the raspberry. So this one I find extremely invigorating, extremely uplifting. The tuberose in this one does not smell bubblegummy, so it's not quite the same as these, but it's just a beautiful flower that's got a cream element that mixes nicely with that milk to make this not so tart and bright that it's like totally fresh. The tuberose in this just kind of balances out that fresh and gives it just a hint of warmth. So this one is really fun. And if you're not a real big floral fan, then giving this one a go would be a great idea, because you get that floral in there, but raspberry is definitely the main player in this. So I'm a real fan of this one. Now the longevity on this one is kind of poor. It only lasts about 5 hours on my skin. It's possible I'm anosmic to it, but man, I love it while it lasts. Next fragrance I have for you that has tuberose is Prada La Femme. Now I talk about this one constantly. Let's just admire this bottle. Like, I love this bottle. I want a cross-grain purse in white with gold hardware just to pay homage to this bottle. I love it. So Prada La Femme. It has tuberose, but I wouldn't say that tuberose is the star. It kind of melds and plays really well with the other florals in this. Now where the other fragrances are a lot sweeter, like this full-on bubblegummy-ish aspect, this is more your solar tropical vibe that comes off of this one. Now the tuberose in this one, I believe it's what makes it smell a little bit cleaner. So what this has in the opening is magnolia, bergamot, and carrot seeds. Now the carrots just all of a sudden smell different to me. I love when that happens. This one, what I notice, I don't really notice any bergamot. I'm not sure what carrot seeds smell like. I've heard that they smell similar to orris, which smells like kind of like cooked carrots. I have carrot seeds downstairs, so maybe I should go sniff them. Although, with my luck, I would sniff one right up my nostril. But this one, ooh, this one is just so awesome. This one gives me that warm, sunny vibe, but also rich, mean lady vibes, boss lady vibes. So I've always talked about this one being like Miranda Priestley. from The Devil Wears Prada. It smells like a rich lady that is so clean. Like she is so squeaky clean that you're almost scared to approach her for fear of filthying her up. She smells clean, and she only ever wears white. Like why would she wear anything else? She gets her clothes dry cleaned. She doesn't even have a washing machine in her house. She gets them dry cleaned. She lounges. She's either working hard or playing hard. But this woman, she doesn't do a whole lot for herself. She doesn't cook for herself. She has people to do those kind of things for her. But when she goes on vacation, she stays in a fancy villa that has kind of gauzy curtains that are blowing in the sea breeze, and she looks out her window or goes out onto her patio on her chaise lounge, feeling the breeze of the sun. This woman knows how to live life in opulence. So that's the vibe that this one gives me. The tuberose in this one is melded really nicely with the middle notes that are also floral. So it has frangipani, tuberose, ylang ylang, violet, and spices. Now I definitely get that hint of spice in this, which keeps it from being too heady. And then in the base you get beeswax, vanilla, and vetiver. So this fragrance, although it kind of starts heady, the spice, the vetiver, the waxiness just keeps it from getting too cloying. This one isn't cloying at all, but it smells like clean sun, if that makes sense. I just think this one's beautiful. Now the longevity on this one is mediocre. Like, well, actually that's not true. I've heard it's mediocre on other people. On me, it lasts all day. So I smell this sucker. I don't know if it's because I spray my clothes too, but I smell this one literally from morning to evening. I usually don't put another fragrance on if I have this one on because it lasts so long on me. So I don't quite understand why some people find the longevity on this is poor, but I just think that this one is so, so pretty. I love it. I love that, that sun aspect, but also how clean it smells. This one smells like clean, but not soapy. It smells kind of like a really, really pricey shampoo, like something you'd spend, like to wash your hair would cost you about, I don't know, 30 bucks just to wash your hair in the type of shampoo that this is. So yeah, it's got a clean aspect to it, but mixed with that solar and just really luxurious, rich, whatever. So if I'm ever going to a meeting and I want to smell like I've got my poop in a group, I put this on. Now the last two fragrances are two of my absolute favorites. I've talked about this one a ton. L'Entredit by Givenchy. This one is Pear and Two Bros. So this one is Pear and Two Bros. This one is Pear and Two Bros, but they all smell different. So this one smells sweeter than this one, just in case you're wondering. And of course this one is super sweet. This one I don't notice the pear as much, but this L'Entredit, it smells just juicy. It smells sensual. There's a lot of vanilla in this one, but what I get off the bat, like there's pear and bergamot in the opening, and I definitely get that juicy pear. So it's a very, very ripe pear in that opening. Don't really notice the bergamot, although probably that bergamot kind of helps balance out that pear. And then this one has jasmine, orange blossom, and tuberose. Some people find that they notice the orange blossom or the jasmine more in this. I notice the tuberose in this one, but it's just a beautiful mix of florals. But I kind of get a little bit of that bubblegummy vibe in this one, so I think that's what I'm smelling. And then in the base, this has ambroxan, vetiver, vanilla, and patchouli. Now, I don't notice the patchouli a whole lot, but I definitely get that vanilla and the vetiver, like there's that kind of that warm, spicy element. I think that this one's beautiful. In the spring, I would find this fine on the colder days. Like, we still haven't gotten warm. Like, our springs are really quite cold. So the only time we get major heat is usually in the summertime. So this I can wear 3 seasons out of the year. But in the summertime, I would reserve this for maybe an evening fragrance. But overall, this is just so beautiful. It's so juicy, warm, sensual. I find this one super sexy. So whereas these are more kind of day-ish, this one definitely takes you into the evening as far as sensual is concerned. I find that the longevity in this one is fantastic as well. Like, I get like 7-8 hours out of this one. So I love this one. And I find that when I wear this, I just love the little bursts of fragrance I get from it. Gorgeous. My last Tuberose fragrance is another one that gives a bit of that tropic vibe, and that is Tom Ford's Eau de Soleil Blanc. Now, to be honest, I get, I would never think to myself, oh, this is a Tuberose fragrance. So this would be probably the least noticeable out of all my Tuberoses. But definitely, you know, again, it's paired with those kind of ylang-ylang, frangipani type notes. So it just really plays well with the more tropical smelling yellow florals. This one has a ton of notes, so I'm just gonna read them here. Bitter orange, neroli, citron, bergamot, pistachio, cardamom, petitgrain, pink pepper, and caraway in the opening. In the mid, you have tuberose, Tunisian orange blossom, ylang-ylang, jasmine, and galbanum. And then the base notes are coconut, vanilla, tonka bean, amber, and benzoin. So this one again just smells so extremely luxurious. I'm gonna just put it on. Oh, it just smells like you're on a rugged beach. Like this, I can come up with so many scenarios for this one. And again, rich lady. Like, the woman that wears this during the day wears this when she's on the beach, maybe, or I don't know, like this lady wears these two fragrances. This lady also basically only wears white because she just has someone else wash her clothes for her. She always has beautiful gold jewelry on. She's got a gold, like she's just white and gold all the way. But this one, there's an element of sexiness to this that, like, I just imagine being on a deserted island, waves crashing, kind of a wild type oceanic experience. I don't know what the deal is with this thing, but I just think this is so freaking sexy. Tom Ford, like, I want to meet him because I want to say to him, your fragrances are the sexiest fragrances on the planet. Like, where did he get more sexy? I'm not sure, but Tom Ford Eau de Soleil Blanc, just gorgeous. Tuberose is not a main player in this. This one to me smells like it's kind of piney. I think it's probably the cardamom and pink pepper and you know, petitgrain, those kind of things just make it smell a little bit herbal, a little bit piney somehow, like just there's a pine feel in it. But this one just warms up on your skin, and those warm tropical florals kind of start to come out. It's beautiful. And then you've got the coconut and the amber and just all of it. All of it plays together to make such an absolute amazing masterpiece that just doesn't last long enough. But I'm really happy to have the original because I love the bottle. I love the whole entire vibe. Yeah, it's my first fancy Tom Ford bottle that looks like this, and I love it. So yeah, I'm happy to have the fragrance, and I just love the smell. It just takes me away. It smells so luxurious. And again, like I said, so many of these Tuberose fragrances to me are luxurious and rich smelling. In fact, the only two that I would say are not super like luxurious smelling would be Velvet Vanilla and So Scandal. These are sweeter, and although this one especially smells like a quality fragrance, this smells kind of girly, fruity, fun, but not necessarily quality. This one smells like a quality fragrance, but all the other ones I would say have a sophisticated aspect to them that I think are absolutely beautiful. There's something for every occasion, from you know, warm type holidays to the fragrances that you can wear to the office, to fragrances that you can wear out on a date. They're just absolutely beautiful. So tell me what your favorite Tuberose fragrance is. I would love to know, probably because I want to get it, although I said I'm not going to buy any more fragrances. It's just really fun, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, I found that I'm a Tuberose lover. And if you've tried these, what do you think? Are these hits for you guys? Or are there some that you're like, I just can't get behind that at all? I always love hearing your comments, and again, any suggestions you have on Tuberose fragrances that I should check out, please leave them in the comments. And other than that, I hope that you have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.